we are on lesson 8. Okay, so for lesson 8, what they're doing now is they are trying to kind of make you, giving you the total amount. If we look at the first problem, they give you the total amount, and they give you one of these numbers. Okay, so what they'll do is you'll have one of the factors and you will have the total. So right here it says 2 times what? So this is the one we did not have, is equal to 10. Okay, so they give us the 10, they give us the 2, and then we have to figure out 2 times what gives us that 10. Okay, it would look like this: 2 times what equals 10. And how would we figure this out? Well, we could skip count by 2 and put a finger up every time we do it. We could do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and that would give us 5 fingers up, so we would know it's 5. Or we could say, okay, which number do we double? Do we count 2 times to get 10? And then if we know our doubles, we would know it's 5 plus 5, so we know this would be 5. And if we just have already learned our 2's and have mastered them, and then we would know that 2 times 5 is just 10. Okay, so it's going to continue down to, if you look at number 5 down here, they're putting letters instead of the blanks. So this gets a lot of kids confused, but this is why I have everybody rewrite it. So you're not just going to try and solve, because that is confusing. You rewrite the problem: 4 times, and this F, see, when they're right next to each other, that means 4 times F. F is just the unknown. That's what we don't know. That's the blank. So 4 times F, which is the blank, 4 times blank, equals 20. So we will rewrite the problem like this. And then when we figure it out, then that's when we can put our answer and have the final answer here, which will be F equals a number. So we have 4 times a number equals 20. Okay, so what do we know about 20? If it ends in 0, it could be 10, right? It could be 4 times 10, but that's going to give us 40, so that's wrong. Okay, 5s, remember, they alternate between the last number being a 0 or a 5. So we can try with 5. And 5, if we know how to count by our 5s, then we have 4 times that we're counting by 5. So it would be 5, 10, 15, 20, and that checks out. It's 4 times, and 4 times 5 does equal 20. So it'd be 5 right here, and then our final answer, final solution, would say F equals 5. And we circle it. Okay, so that's how you do that one. We'll do the same one over here, well, similar one, and this one says 10A equals 50. We will rewrite that. Okay, and it's 10 times blank. So see, we put this multiplication sign right there, because when a number and a letter are right next to each other with no spaces, that means multiplication. So we're filling in that space, and we're putting an X instead for the lack of space anyway. And then for the A, we're just putting a blank, because that is the unknown. Anytime that there's a letter inside of a math problem, for the most part, that's the unknown. Okay, so we're searching for that A. So 10 times blank equals 50. Okay, this one, it ends in a 0. We already have the 10 here, so we know that whatever we're multiplying by 10 will give us 50. And this is pretty simple, because we just do 10 until we get to 50, and if we do it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 times. Okay, and then we just put A equals 5. That is our solution. Okay. And when it says this, 10 times what? That's your blank. When you're setting up your problems, it says 10 times, so it tells you what to write. And then when it says what, that's when you put your blank, because you know we don't know what that is, so we have to search for that. Equals 80. Okay, so that's how we set up our problems when it's just words. Okay, do a few of these as well. Okay, this one says, number 17, we'll do that one. There are 12 ears in the room. How many people are in the room? Okay, 12 ears in the room, how many people? So we know that in total, how many ears are in the room? 12. So we put equals 12 because this is where we put our total. And it says how many people are in the room? Well, how many ears does one person have? That's what we have to ask ourselves first, because before we find out how many people total are in the room, we have to figure out how many ears one person has, and that is 2. So we can put 2, E for ears. Okay, we'll set up our problem the same way they're being set up here with all of the letters. And then we will put 2 times what? Equals 12. And then we'll solve and say it's 6. Okay, we can skip count, we can master knowing our 2's, or we can just find a number that doubles to get 12. Okay, either way works to find the 2's. And then we have E equals 6. We circle that. That is our final answer. So just remember, in this chapter, for the most part, when they're asking you, when they're giving you these big numbers, okay, 18, 40, $50, all the way at the bottom here, $50 a week. When you're seeing these big numbers, just remember we haven't done difficult multiplication like that yet, where it's 2-digit integers. So just remember that when you see that, that's probably your total. Okay, that's more than likely your total, and you have to find one of the factors that equals to that number. They'll give you a factor. This is the factor, and then they'll give you the total, and you have to find this one. Okay. Okay, this is more of all of that. I think there was, yes, there is some subtraction here that I wanted to go over. So 42, I'm doing this one right here. So 42 minus 18. Okay, we can do this problem, we can solve it one of 2 different ways. Okay, one of them is lengthier to write down, but once you get it, which is what they're doing here, then it's faster, it works faster in your mind. Okay, there's one step here that I would probably leave out, but I'll show you that in a minute. But for the most part, this is what this is how we learned it in school, right? We say, oh man, I want to borrow 8 from my neighbor. You know, I want to take 8 away, but I want to give 8 away of something, but I don't have enough. I only have 2, so I cannot give this person 8. So let me see if my neighbor has any. Hi neighbor, can I borrow a 10? Yes, you may. Take a 10, bring it over here to my neighbor. This makes this a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. And then I move on to this side. I'm done with that side. Now I have 3 minus 1 is 2. I get 24 as my answer, okay? So that's usually how we learned it, okay? Which is not a bad way. It just starts to get messy the longer, the bigger the number is, because then there's so much carrying and crossing off, and it starts to get pretty messy. And this is this way that shows in the book is a nicer way to kind of keep everything more organized, not have a lot of cross marks. And if you get used to this way, then it really does make counting and subtracting, adding and subtracting really just fast, because it looks like a lot on paper, but eventually this becomes mental math. Okay, so this is how that one works. We have 42 minus 18 again. Okay, and we break up our numbers. Okay, we have the tens plus the ones. Okay, and what I like to do is I just take away the number directly from the tens, because to me that is very easy. Because 18, for me to go to up to 20, right, and meet halfway with the 40, if I take away 18 from 40, then 2 more will give me that 20. 18 plus 2 will give me the 20. So I can take away, put the 2 here, because I know that that's going to be 10 minus the 8 will give me that 2. But I'm taking away, I'm taking this away from the 20, from half of the 40. And then I'll take the other 2 down and bring it down. And that can be my answer. I'm going to explain it a little bit better, because I don't think that was good enough. But yeah, maybe it would be best to do their example and break it up this way. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do instead is we'll stick to their example, which is that you break the 42 down into 40 plus 2, which is tens and the ones, just like I did. And the way that I was doing it, it's a little harder just because you really have to kind of already have the mental math. So we will do it the book's way. Okay, then the book breaks down also the minus 10 minus 8, right, over here. And then what they do is, because you still cannot subtract 8 from the 2, then what they do is they take one of these 10s from the 4 and they give it to the 2. So if you're moving a 10 over here to the 2, okay, then you're taking the 10 away from the 4, or from the 40, and you are giving that 10 to the 2. So this becomes a 30 and this becomes a 12. Okay, so then our new problem would be the 40 minus that 10 we took away, that's 30, and then plus, we took the 10 away and gave it to the 2, so that's 12, and then we can just move these over. It's minus 10 and minus 8, and we can solve. 12 minus 8 is going to give us 4, okay, and that way we are subtracting our ones, and whatever we get with the ones, and we will add that with our 10s that we have left over. So 30 minus 10, that's 20, and our answer is 24. Like I said, this looks lengthy, but this is something that I do now with mental math. My kids have done it with mental math since they were about in first grade. So it is doable. It does make life easier in the long run. So just something to think about. Think about it this way too. If you have 42 minus 18, okay, and you were to change this into 22, or not 22, 40 plus 2, okay, and then you have minus 18. Okay, if you take 40 minus 18, and you just count up with the 18 twice, you go 18, 19, 20. You counted plus 2 to get to the next up, which would be 20. Okay, so then you just do 40 minus 20, which is 20. and you add this 2, then you add it to the 18, and then you get 24 as well. So this is the mental math that would just kind of, after doing all of this, it would shorten down to this portion at the bottom later on. But it looks intense, it looks, but it really is just practice. And I can send home worksheets for practice. And like I said, if you don't want to try this method, you don't have to. You can still go keep doing, you know, this method right here where you cross off, you carry, and all of that. This is a very handy method in the example, and I recommend it if you want to give it a go. I think that's all that we have to cover in this chapter. I think everything else is just kind of more review, more practice for the kids. Yep. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please send me a message. I'll always respond. Thank you.